It went live before I expected. Hello, Facebook, YouTube, and any Instagram family that watches. Sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. I have worked a lot today, trying to catch up from being off yesterday. All you people that follow me, you know I had a little bit of a rough day yesterday. I took my son to college. So my last child at home. So of course is my baby. I have 5 kids. So it was my last one, took him off to school. So it was a little bit of an emotional day yesterday, but much better today, but gave me a busy day at work. So, all right, with us tonight, we have Kristian. Is it Kristian? Am I saying it right? Okay.
Yep.
Want to make sure. Sorry, I should have asked you before. Kristian Montgomery, and your band is called, I'm blanking. Winter Kill. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I've only seen that 10 times today. Winter Kill Band. I came across Kristian a while back. We've had this interview set up for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Came across you a while back. I can't even remember what song it was that I heard, and I was like, whoa, I like this guy's sound. It's different. You're definitely not mainstream country by any means. A little bit of old country crossed with rock.
Yep.
Old rock. And definitely some of the Beatles influence in there, some of that type of sound. So you're definitely different. I could hear you on the radio and know it was you.
Yeah.
And that's what I love when I pick like my favorite singers or people that I gravitate more to. Hey, Jovan, I knew you would be here. I was waiting to see you pop on. Jovan is from Scotland, and he watches every interview that I do. So I knew he would be on here, and he has a show similar to mine. So good to have you on, Jovan. Anyway, I was saying, yeah, your music is totally different than what's out there right now on any of the country stations or rock stations. You almost have a channel of your own.
Yeah, which is, I suppose, good and bad.
Well, good because you can cross over to both the genres.
Yeah, yep. I mean, my first concert ever was Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers when I was.
Oh, yes, I love them.
And my grandparent, my mother's family are from Wigtonshire, Scotland, and my dad is from Copenhagen, Denmark, and so I grew up with a huge Celtic influence. There's definitely an influence there. But I love old rock and roll. I mean, from the Beatles to Roy Orbison to Chuck Berry. But I also love the heavy guitars of Soundgarden and Monster Magnet and all these other crazy bands that Queens of the Stone Age. Those guys are huge influences as well as some of the predecessors of rock and roll. But
we like some of the like 80s classic rock too, because one of your songs starts off with Queen.
Yes, Freddie Mercury is one of my all-time favorite singers. I mean, the way he layered his vocals and just his approach towards songwriting was amazing. And so it was cool. I got to pay a little homage to him too.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely picked that up like right away. Because I'm a huge Queen fan. I mean, I'm a 70s baby, 80s teenager. So that's definitely my era. So I love that. Well, let's just go ahead and kick it off and let you just play something for us so people will know what I'm talking about with your sound, and then we'll talk some more.
All right. Well, this one is a brand new one. I wrote this song whilst traveling through Mexico, of all places. But it's a pretty cool little rockabilly tune.
All right.
So walking down the road, while I wet my left down in Mexico. Well, I found a place I can call home. Said I'm senorita sweet, and I'm there to knock you off your feet. Before I'm done, you never want to leave. She got fruit so sweet. Think twice before you bite into that piece. She got fruit so sweet. Think twice before you bite into that piece. Never spent a lonely night. She did things that I can't describe. Well, if I go, I'll die satisfied. She had fruit so sweet. Think twice before you bite into that piece. She had fruit so sweet. Think twice before you bite into that piece. Somewhere along the way, the hours turned into days. The visions that I have seen in my life. She had fruit so sweet. Think twice before you bite into that piece. She had fruit so sweet. Think twice before you bite into that piece.
Yeah. Oh, I am loving that.
Yeah, that's called Peach.
Peach. All right. I was going to ask you what the name of that was because I know I didn't hear that earlier. So that's not released yet.
Not yet. That's brand new. I'm actually finishing up a 10-song record as we speak. That's called The Prince of Poverty. And this one is on the follow-up to that. We've already got another 12 songs that we were going to do after that one. So
wow,
we're just trying to stay as busy as possible. And if I can release 3 or 4 albums in a year, that's like a pandemic record.
Yeah, so, for real. I mean, most people are doing good if they release 1 a year.
Yeah.
Much less 3 or 4. My goodness, Kristian, you are busy. I love that tune. I wrote that down. I am going to remember that one. So that's going to come out on the album, not as a single.
No, that's that one of the things about my particular songwriting too is I'm not a big fan of singles. I'm a fan of. I like albums. They are descriptive of a period of time in your life, whereas a single is just a fleeting moment.
Right.
And I mean, there's a time and a place for singles. Don't get me wrong, but when you listen to an album and you can hear the connection between the songs, that's one of the biggest turn-ons for me when it comes to music, is being able to say, so you went through this, then they wrote about that, and then they moved on to this. That's where I'm at. I mean, especially with everything I've gone through in my life and places I've traveled. And I mean, you know, a magazine recently said that I made Hemingway look like a Cub Scout. You know, my records are about a period of time in my life that have happened. The Gravel Church was in my past the day it was released, and you know, now I've moved on. I mean, like we all do. I mean, you know, from tragedy to, you know, overcoming it and moving on, and that's what I've. So,
Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to touch on the past a little bit, but
Oh
then
yeah.
I want to hear so before your middle song, we'll talk about that. And then after that, we're going to go to what's coming. Because I loved your story that I read. And I was making sure I got something recent. And if there's something more recent, I apologize, but this was in July. The Wicked Local.
Yeah, that was a Boston newspaper. The Patriot Ledger was the paper that published it. The Wicked Locals are like town tabloids, but
Okay.
Patriot Ledger, the Patriot Ledger was the initial and Jay Miller from the Patriot Ledger. He was the gentleman who wrote the story.
Okay. I was inspired when I read your story.
Thanks.
Yeah, really inspired when I read your story, and I was reading it and I was like, okay, I'm really intrigued and looking forward to this interview. Because of course the title caught my attention. And so Jay did a great job because that's exactly what he's supposed to do to get us to read the article. So the title, of course, is Kristian Montgomery Fought the Law and His Music Won. I love that because, well, we'll go backwards so that people know what that means. You had a difficult divorce. Many of us can relate to that. And you had children that you had to pay child support for. Again, many can relate to that. And you are a diabetic.
Yeah, I'm a type 1 diabetic. I wear an insulin pump, and my biological father made it to 54 before he passed away from complications with diabetes. So time has always been, I can relate to guys like BB King who, live with type 1 diabetes and others. And, we tend to live on average 15 years less than the average person. So if, 72, we're somewhere in the, we're somewhere in the late 50s as far as, that's concerned. But I mean, some people make it longer, some people shorter.
Right.
But yeah, I asked, for a slight modification, and it was denied. And I made the mistake of reaching out to a judge and telling him what I thought, and they threw me in, so, I mean, it was healing at this. I mean, it was an awful experience. Don't get me wrong. And I would, I got to tell you, I mean, I've met so many people there that probably shouldn't have been there. I mean, there was people suffering from addiction. There was people who had been, thrown in there for so many different reasons. And it seems like we just do that here in the United States now. We just throw people away really quick. There isn't a lot of empathy, and there's not a lot of love regarding our fellow man. So, but I mean, I was approached by a 20-something-year-old drug addict while I was in there regarding my snoring, and I had to defend myself, and I did pretty damn well. Did some time in solitary confinement for knocking him out, and then I mean, granted, I was only there for a little less than 6 months.
Right.
But it was enough. It was enough to show me kind of the underbelly of our country, and to see all these forgotten people, and it was just awful. When I got out, the first thing I did was try to get back to being a dad and set a good example. And so I decided, what better way to do that than to write a record and to get my story out there so that people could hear me, and hopefully I'll be able to help somebody if they're going through something similar. So
exactly. Well, you had, we talk about, and I use that loosely because not me, but people talk about deadbeat dads, dads that don't pay child support. And I'm familiar with one of those. And he had no reason to be that way other than he chose to be that way. You didn't choose to be that way. Diabetes, and I'm not saying you were a deadbeat dad. Let me clarify that. You were behind on child support for legit reasons or asked for a reduction for legit reasons. You were in the hospital because of your diabetes.
Yeah, I had lost a couple of jobs, but I always caught up on support. One of the things here in Massachusetts, and you know, I'm not a big fan of the government in Kentucky as far as its leadership. You know, Mr. Mitch McConnell. But I am a big fan of something that happened there. In Kentucky, they passed a law that in the event of a divorce, mom gets the kids half the time, dad gets the kids the other half of the time. And then the funny thing is that since that has happened, protective orders have decreased by 60%. Wow. So there's something to be said for when you tell, I mean, and granted, we choose to have children with who we have children with. We're making a choice, you know?
Right.
And we have to take responsibility for our individual choices. So I'm a firm believer that when you, and of course, I grew up, you know, a product of divorce. My parents split up, and my dad went to Florida, and my mom in Massachusetts. And, but I'm a huge advocate as far as, you know, you got to just, you know, you made these decisions. This is your life. You can't change who your children's parent is.
Right.
So you should split the time half of the time. I mean, and especially now, women have struggled so hard to try to get equal pay for equal work and all of the same rights as men. You would have to think that it would just make sense to everybody just to say, well, we're getting divorced. You get the kids half the time. You get the kids the other half of the time. Make it work. And stop complaining, because it's what's best for the kid. But
exactly what's best for the child.
Right. So I was a lobbyist for a bill here in Massachusetts, and I'm not going to say that was the reason why they were so harsh towards me, but I was lobbying for the bill. The bill didn't pass, and once again, the people that killed it were lawyers, the Bar Association, because they make so much money off of our individual tragedies as families. And, you know, a couple of state senators have now said we have a fatherlessness epidemic in our country.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, you know, most of the guys I was in prison with came from families with no dad. So it's important to fix the system when you think it's broken, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, when it's broken, it definitely needs fixed. When it's not broke, people need to leave it alone. There's a problem on both sides. Yeah, I completely agree. And dads that are good dads need their children. Moms that are good moms need their children. Now, if they're not, then we're talking about a whole different situation. But
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. We all fail our children. But I mean, I think of movies like The Godfather. Now, you know, he was the Godfather was a terrible person, but he was a very good father. And he loved his kids. I mean, we all, you know, there's no such thing as a perfect parent. So, I mean, we're going to be a product of, and if you believe in Buddhism, you know, we choose our parents. I mean, after we die and we go back to the little hallway of being recycled called the bardo, we choose the next life for some reason to, you know, to right a wrong of the past or whatever. I mean, so I believe we choose our parents.
Well, I have to admit, I don't know anything about Buddhism. But you know, I could make that a whole nother show of just talk, because I'm intrigued by different religions. I can make that a whole nother show talking to people that believe in different religions than I do, because I don't have a problem with that. You know, some people are just like, oh God, if you're not Christian, no, not listening to you. I'm not like that. I like hearing other people's religion, other people's beliefs. I'll share with you what I believe, but I'm not going to say that you're wrong because I don't want you to tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I grew up in the church. That's where my music career began. So,
right.
How
did you get to Buddhism? And I know I said I'm not going to talk about politics or religion, but I'm interested now. So, people watching, if you don't like it, sorry. It's my show. How did you go from that to Buddhism?
I've just always I've traveled the world quite a bit, and a little bit different than some other musicians. I mean, from Nicaragua to Norway. I mean, I've traveled, and my older brother's married to a woman from the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
We've
Why did we freeze? Come back, Kristian. Why did I lose him? Okay, hopefully it comes back. I'm not sure what's happening here. Okay, we completely lost him. All right, hopefully he's going to come back in. There he is.
I'm back. Here we
You're
go.
back? Okay, good. I didn't know what happened. Okay, you were traveling around.
Yeah, I was just traveling. I mean, I've always kept an open mind and listened to other people's opinions, and I've found something beautiful about all of them, all the religions. I really got into Buddhism just because it was a religion where that basic tenet was, if you can't do something good, the least you could do is not do anything bad, which reminded me of my grandmother, saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
The golden rule. Yep.
And I just like simple. I mean, I believe we're just supposed to be good to each other. We're supposed to love each other. I don't want my next neighbor to be my competitor, the way it seems like that in the States a lot of the time, where we used to be we used to have villages, and now we have individual homes where, the next door neighbor, we look at him like, what's wrong with that guy? And, we're not supposed to be like that. So,
and especially right now with this pandemic and the way that the world is, especially the United States, is, just be nice. Why? I don't.
It might be the last thing you do. You don't know it. We don't know anymore. I mean, we could get sick tomorrow. So
exactly. I mean, and it's not that hard to be kind. It takes so much less energy to be nice than it does to be ugly to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
I have a very good friend, Jeff Neely, who's in a band called the Slow Grass Rollers, and they remind me a little bit of the Grateful Dead, but they have a song called "Be So Good to Everyone You Love," and it is one of the most uplifting and joyous songs you'll hear. And it's how we all should really listen to them.
I'm writing that down because I'm going to look it up.
Slow Grass Rollers. Yeah, they've been in the studio around the same time I have, and I borrow their session drummer all the time. So we've gotten to be good buds.
All right, I'm gonna have to look that up. I was thinking when you said the name of the band, I thought this is going to be a bluegrass band.
Yeah, they're very, very bluegrass. I mean, they are.
Okay.
They're a little, kind of like a Grateful Dead bluegrass. A lot of mandolin, a lot of washboard, a lot of old style. I mean, they even use that, that mouth harp and all sorts of crazy stuff. They're super talented guys who are just.
I'll look them up for sure. All right. Well, I want to get to the next part of your story because this is let me go back just a minute. When I was reading this, Now, most of this last album that you put out, you wrote
Mhm.
while you were in prison?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Sorry. So was it just most of it, or like you wrote the whole album while you were in
Oh,
there?
just no, most of it. I mean, when I got
Okay.
out, I wrote stuff. I mean, I wrote A Life Like This after a night, actually, for our Scottish viewer. My family splurged. We have a very modest family. We're just on that middle class cusp, I think, and we don't have a lot of extra, but we have everything we need. And
Exactly.
they splurged, and they got me a kilt made out of my Montgomery tartan from Scotland, and had it shipped over here.
Oh,
And
wow.
you know, I broke down in tears. It was right after I got out of jail, and it was just such a beautiful moment. And I was just, it feels great to be loved, and to
Yeah.
have a life like that. I mean, we were all at the dinner table. I mean, um, and we love being around each other. We love spending time together, and it just made me feel like the most important person in the world that day. So
Oh,
um,
yeah.
I
Well,
thought
I'm
it was.
glad you told that story because I was going to ask you about the kilt because of the picture that you posted.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I,
That's the Montgomery family tartan kilt.
that
Um,
is so cool. I love that. Um,
yeah,
okay, so the next thing that I just loved when I read in your story, I think this is just the sweetest thing. So you swore off women, or not, didn't swear off women, but you swore off marriage. And
yeah,
then you meet the first girl that you ever kissed. You ran
yeah,
into her.
yeah.
Was it a
Yeah.
planned run in, or you seriously just like accidentally ran into each other one day?
Um, yeah, we kind of before I had gotten divorced, and she had gotten divorced, was going through a really bad divorce too. Um, we had kind of looked at each other on Facebook, and I sent her a message, a couple of years prior to getting together, saying, "Hey, do you remember that time I kissed you behind the library?" And and she didn't, she didn't reply to me. And one day I was in my the her hometown, and I was going for a run, and she had mentioned something about going for a run too, um, and so we ended up meeting up at the beach and talking, and it was she, when we were kids, her dad was a lobster fisherman, and my grandfather was a fisherman, and so I'd always see her and check her out, and finally convinced her to give me a kiss, and then we never saw each other again.
Oh,
And and then 20 something years later, I mean, we were just kids. I mean, maybe 15, 16 at the time. um, and and then we ran into each other, and we decided we were going to go out to dinner, and then I asked her, just spur of the moment, "Hey, you want to go mountain climbing?" And she said, "Yeah." And we ended up climbing Mount Washington in New Hampshire together, and then um, we just enjoy a lot of the same things. We fish. She goes hunting with me. I mean, we have a lot in common. And we thought we'd never get married again, and then 6 months later, I just was sitting in her grandmother's driveway with her after visiting her grandma, and I said, "You want to marry me?" And she's just like, "Yeah." And so I was like, "You want to go buy a ring?" And she was like, "Yep." I said, "Okay, let's do it."
yeah, of course.
And we had a nice quiet little wedding. And I mean, I don't think, we've been married now for a couple of years. We've never had a fight, never had an argument really. Um, we just it's pretty wild when you just enjoy being around somebody. And she encourages the heck out of me as far as music is concerned.
Yeah.
So, she's checking on the meatballs right now, and she keeps looking in the, smiling at me. You know, you
Oh,
know,
that's awesome. You can bring her on if she wants to come.
oh, she is the most shy woman you've ever met.
Aw. I love y'all's story. I love your story. It's so heartwarming. Um,
Mhm.
and for people that read it or hear it on here, it gives people hope. I think
Yeah,
that, yeah, it gives people hope that, love is real and it's out there and you don't necessarily have to go searching for it. I feel like your truest love is going to find you. It's just
yeah,
going to happen. You don't have to go searching for it.
yep.
Uh, that's what I think about it. But
And
anyway,
And
um,
I found that no matter what happens, you can always start over. There's nothing stopping
yeah,
anybody from starting over.
exactly. It's up to
Uh,
you and what you decide to do. Life choices are yours.
Right.
And, whether you make good choices or bad choices. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's totally up to you and what you decide to do. Yeah. Well, I think it's time for another song.
Okay. Well, on a much different pace as far as love stories is concerned. This is a song that's on the next record. It's called "Don't Call Me Baby." It was a Las Vegas song. Um, it was about a nightmare where I was with a woman who took me out to the desert. She made me dig my own grave, and it was the weirdest dream. But I remembered it so vividly. Every time she shot me, she said, "Don't worry, baby. It's okay, baby." And I wrote this song.
Oh, that's pretty. All right. You've got me interested now.
Out in the desert, there's a legend of me and little mama carrying a gun. She found Jesus in a paper cup. We converted all now. She's a bitter pill to swallow lately. When she's on top, she'll drive you crazy. Ain't no skirt gonna save me. Please just don't call me baby. Be by blue is what you say. She gonna love till the end of the day. She gonna be your favorite high. Feel like you live long after you die. She's a bitter pill to swallow lately. When she's on top, she'll drive you crazy. Have no skirt gonna save me. Please just don't call me baby. Girl in the desert, never let you know. Me and mama carrying my gun. She thanked Jesus and a paper cup. He converted all your fallen love. You're a bitter pill to swallow lately. She's on top to drive you crazy. And I'm stuck on a crazy. Please just don't call me baby.
I couldn't find the mute button to unmute it. Oh, okay. That was a crazy song. I can imagine how you felt dreaming that.
It was pretty funny. I woke up and I was telling my wife about the dream. She's like, "Was it me?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It could have been you." And she, but I mean, it's kind of one of those like 1950s style song. When we recorded it, it's turned into a real big band feel.
Yeah.
And I could see it in a Quentin Tarantino movie. But
yeah,
it's a good tune.
it is. It's a really catchy tune, and like you said, like that big band feel. Yeah, like could be in a mob movie or something for sure.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, that's crazy. Isn't it crazy how you dream things that are just like so off the wall and it's so vivid, but like, your wife was asking, was it me? And you're like, I don't know. You can't really tell who the people are in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I dream like that sometimes. I'll have like weird dreams and then I'm like, I have no idea who it is.
No.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I don't know if you had planned on playing this song or not. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. But I got to ask you about it because I think everybody can relate to it. And everybody that has a sibling anyway. And you posted it on the story today. The song that you've got, Warm Grave.
Yeah.
So that's about your brother. Is that on this coming up album as well?
It is. Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, it was my brother and I. I have several siblings. Like I said, my friends tell me that I make Hemingway look like a Cub Scout. As far as adventures are concerned. I have a half brother from my dad's first marriage who is half Aleutian Indian from Alaska. He's my older brother. He's my half brother. And then I have a half brother in Florida and a half sister in Massachusetts, all from different moms. My dad was quite a handsome man, and very. He only lived to be 54, but he was married 7 times.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
enjoyed those years.
Yes, he did. He definitely enjoyed those years. I think maybe he just knew he had a short fuse and he wouldn't be around forever. So he lived as much as he could. But my biological brother, my full brother Kurt, he and I, we've always had a relationship where we would be best friends, fishing buddies, and then something would happen. It was usually a fight between our wives or something, but we'd stop talking and sometimes years at a time.
Oh, wow.
And this song was just kind of my solidifying our friendship. Letting him know that no matter what, we're always going to be best friends. He's down in Florida, he lives in Spring Hill, and I'm up here in Massachusetts, and so it's funny. I was born.
Uh-oh, you froze again. Ooh. Okay. Last thing I heard was where you were born.
Yeah, I was born in Jupiter, West Palm Beach, and my brother.
I see you now.
Yeah, sorry about that. It was the sun went down and the candles that I had weren't cutting it anymore. They looked cool. I was born in Jupiter, West Palm Beach, and my brother was born up here in Massachusetts. So we've kind of swapped spots. But
that's crazy. Yeah. Now, has he heard the song?
Oh yeah, he cried like a baby when he heard it. I'm 6'2", he's 6'4", and he's far more muscular than I am. And he's a very emotional boy. He cries a lot. If he's watching right now, your brother loves you, and you're welcome. I know it's a beautiful song.
All right. Now, were you planning on playing that on here or ending with something different?
I was gonna play something different. That one I don't have the guitar for.
Okay, so I have to wait for the album to come out. Jeez.
Not long, you know.
I love when y'all just do that to me. Sarcasm hopefully was noted there. No, I will patiently wait for it. Yeah, I'm anxious to hear that one, just because I can so relate to it. And it's funny that you mentioned, all your half siblings and all that. I totally can relate because I have, in total, there is, I have 6 other siblings, 3 sisters, 3 brothers.
Yep.
So I have a half brother that lives in Florida, a half sister. I'm not sure where she's at because she won't talk to any of us. And so those are from the same dad. Then with the same dad, but a different mom, is my full sister. And then I have 2 stepbrothers and a stepsister. But my 2 stepbrothers and stepsister, they're like full siblings. They've been around since I was 5 years old and we were all raised together. So yeah, I can relate to that, all those different places that they come from. But me and my full sister have a relationship like you were talking about with your brother, but we've never went years. We've went a couple months and that might be the longest, but I mean, we will love each other like best friends, and she is my best friend. I love my sister to death. I would do anything for her. But then sometimes we can get in some knockdown dragouts. I mean, I think that's just a sibling thing. It just happens. I think everybody can, relate to that. But now, do any of your other siblings, or did you come from a musical family?
Yeah, I come from a very musical family. My uncle was a pretty good banjo player, and my grandfather had a wonderful voice on my mom's side. And my mom had a really good voice. And then on my dad's side, I mean, my cousin Sarah, who lives in Denmark, she was managing one of the biggest record stores in town. Very musical person. And my cousin Morgan and Biaka are both very avid music fans too over there. My cousin Jessie and her husband Henrik, huge Jimi Hendrix fans, 70s music. My cousin Jessie just turned 70, so happy birthday if she's in Denmark.
Oh wow. Yeah, happy birthday.
She's a wonderful person, an angel. And we have a very, very, very much just immersed family when it comes to music. And everybody's kind of followed my career to see what happens.
Of course. Yeah, I would hope so. Now, are you the only one that's pursuing music? Is there anyone else in your family that's pursuing, playing music as a career?
Yeah, just me. I'm the only one. The last one standing. Yeah.
Well, not too many to keep up with in the family then. It'd be easy if it's just you. All right. Now, in a couple of your songs, and we talked about this a little bit before we went live, but I want to get into a little bit more detail. In a couple of your songs, I very easily detected some Native American.
Yeah.
And so you do have some Native American in you, you said.
Yeah, on my mom's side, we go back to the Wampanoag Indians, who were the Indians who met the Pilgrims. My genealogy it's pretty crazy. Here, my mother's parents in Massachusetts, we speak about North Shore and South Shore. My grandfather, my mother's father, his family, half is from Wigtonshire, Scotland. The other half are very blue-blooded Americans that go all the way back to the Mayflower. I'm think like 2/3 of the Mayflower are my distant grandparents.
Oh, wow.
And with Halloween coming too, two of the women who were hanged for witchcraft in Salem, as everybody knows, two of them, Rebecca Nurse and Susanna Martin, were my 9th great grandmothers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
That's on my grandmother's side, but on my granddad's side, we go back to the Pilgrims and the Native Americans that met them. So, it's a pretty cool history. And then on my father's side in Denmark, we having more of that Viking heritage, we're pretty much immersed in that area of Northern Europe. I mean, my 25th or 6th great grandfather was Harald the Bluetooth, the first king of Denmark, the first Christian king. His symbol is the Bluetooth symbol on your phone.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. His rune is his name. Every time you log into something with Bluetooth or play music on from your phone to your car, that symbol is my whatever 25th or whatever great grandfather.
Oh, wow. That is interesting. And I thought I had an interesting family history. That's nothing compared to yours.
Oh, God. Yeah, you got to take the good with the bad. I mean, my 9th great uncle was the first teenager hanged in Plymouth, Massachusetts. He got a little too friendly with a cow, and he was hanged for that. So,
oh my God.
His last name is Granger, and if you Google that, if you Google the first teenager hung in Plymouth, Massachusetts in the 1600s, that's him. He's a great uncle, not grandfather. So I escaped anything being passed down to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, yeah, I have I am Lumbee Indian. Obviously, I'm not full-blooded. My father has no Indian, but my mother is full-blooded. And so we're Lumbee Indians from North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina. And I think, I may say this wrong, but I think it's my 5th great uncle. So great uncle, however many greats. Henry Berry Lowry was the first Indian outlaw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think is pretty cool. And one of my cousins was a fabulous artist. And he did multiple paintings of Henry Berry Lowry. And it's just really cool heritage if you dig into the Indian Native American history there. A lot of cool stuff, cool history in reference to Lumbees. Mm-hmm. And then I think you said, what was your relation to the Sioux Indians? Did you say you had a?
I don't have any relation to the Sioux genetically, but the beginning of my song 5 Horses, we took a recording of a Sioux Indian dance in the 1950s. I use a lot of Native American visuals in my songs, videos. I know. My new song American Fire, which is kind of taken off. We have the Indian chief on his horse looking at the fire, blazing. It's kind of a nice, I tell people all the time that we've had 400 years of English rule in the United States, and we have the 400th anniversary of Plymouth is coming up, and that we should be asking the natives to release the curse that 2020 has plagued us with, because of it seems almost coincidental that the 400th anniversary of the beginning of the country was plagued by a pandemic. So
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yep. So
now, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I like Excuse me. I like the song. And I definitely get the message.
Yeah.
But yeah, sadly I had to ask you to refrain from that one. Just in case there's any children watching. Or make it PG.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first time I heard it, I was like, whoa, like caught my attention. And I was like, all right, I can go with this. But another one of your songs that I really liked and can relate to is Look at My Child.
Yep.
I really like that. What was your inspiration for, besides the obvious, did you have any other inspiration for writing that song?
Well, other than the fact that I've grown up in a society that's been at war since as long as I can remember, and I have a very close cousin. Sometimes we even call each other brother and sister. And she has two sons who, all of my nieces and nephews call me Uncle Cuckoo. And so it's something she started. She's kind of a pain in the ass, but her sons and I are very close. I think the world of both of them, almost to the point where I think they can do no wrong, which is gets me in trouble all the time. But my nephew Christopher is going to play baseball for Salve Regina College in Newport, Rhode Island, and he's just a phenomenal student, phenomenal ball player. But his father went to Afghanistan, and he came back a completely broken person. We heard stories about him cleaning the pieces of his friends out of some of the vehicles that had gotten hit, and it definitely forever changed. Granted, he married my cousin, so he was broken before he went, but he came back. He came back worse. But it's just I'm at that point now where I would never not support somebody who joined the military on my behalf. I just want to feel like it's on my behalf again, instead of some rich guy war overseas. If you're going somewhere to defend my honor in my old age, now that I'm in my 40s, I'm not really war ready and I can't go. But if you're going to go defend the character of our country, which is supposed to be this welcoming, amazing place where everybody has a chance to be happy. But it doesn't seem like that anymore. It seems like we're sending these kids to die for the cause of a few individuals who want some minerals or mining rights or oil, or for whatever reason they're over there. I don't ever remember the heroin problem being so bad in the United States since, from before these wars started, but now it's everywhere. And you have to think that some of these politicians might have their hand in the till. And, I don't think we have senators or House of Representatives anymore who aren't millionaires. So it's pretty scary.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I think, even if people don't have, a son or daughter themselves, or brother or sister, somebody directly close to them that is serving, surely they know somebody. And if you've ever seen someone come back from that situation, they're not the same. They're affected in some way or another. And I have a son-in-law that's ex-Army that deals with that on a daily basis. My other son-in-law is a current career Air Force pilot. So I have very close ties to the military. And so, I related to that song so much.
We see how it also rolls into the way our country polices itself too. veterans get special, treatment when it comes to joining the police force. And these are gentlemen who have been trained to kill in defense of themselves, who are now trained to kill their own citizens. And it's a situation where, other countries, in order to become a police officer in Denmark, you have to go to school for 4 years. You have to get a degree. And a lot of it's based on psychology. And we kill, so many criminals are killed in the United States every year. The same stuff doesn't happen in other countries. So, we're obviously doing something wrong. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way we hire these broken people who come back to walk the streets with the firearm. It's scary.
Yeah. There needs to be so much more for our veterans. I'm
Absolutely.
such an advocate for veterans and what they deserve when they get, while they're currently serving and after. And I just feel like they don't get what they deserve. But as far as the police, there needs to be so much more training, I feel like. I like the 4-year thing. I like that. By profession, even though I'm not currently working I am a registered nurse. I had to go 2 years for that degree. And then you think you can go to school and be a police officer in 6 months?
Yeah, it's actually 12 weeks or 21 weeks, I think.
But strikingly odd. But I am all for our police officers. I support them as long as they're doing what they should do. You've got good and bad in anything. You have good and bad in anything. The bad ones I don't support by no means. The good ones I do. But I think all across the board, something different needs to be done.
When I was a boy, I got in trouble. And I remember the gentleman's name was Officer Haywood. And my grandfather came to pick me up at the station, and he said, "Mr. Montgomery, your grandson will never do what they said he did." And I, kind of nodded my head like in agreement with him. And he goes, "And if he did, I'm sure you'd want to take care of it at home." And I can tell you that by the time my granddad was done with me, I was begging to just throw me in jail, just arrest me, please. I never got in trouble again. And years later, I became very friendly with that police officer. And he said, our job was to protect you kids through that period of time in your life where you thought you were invincible and you were completely full of crap.
Exactly.
And nowadays, it seems as though the system is more geared towards getting you in the system to make money, so that you're immediately set on a path at that point to get into more and more trouble.
Absolutely.
And I just wish I'm one of those folks who believe that police should take the least intrusive approach. Just stay out of the way. They're trained now to be so suspicious and go after everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, just let us live our lives, for God's sake. Well, my grandfather took care of me just fine. That full of crap down the street, his dad's going to take care of him too if you tell him. So.
And what happened to innocent until proven guilty?
Oh,
now
absolutely.
Guilty until proven innocent.
Right.
And but along the same lines as you, it was, I guess, it had to be like 8 years ago, 7-8 years ago. My son decided he was going to take him and his stepbrother, half-brother, brother, decided about 10 o'clock at night they were going to go four-wheeling in his truck in a place that they had no business going four-wheeling. Well, then, and it wasn't even my son driving. He let his brother drive. Well, he got his truck. And that was the first thing, because he knew he was not supposed to let anyone else drive his truck except his dad or me. And so that was his first mistake, was letting his brother drive. Second mistake was going to this location four-wheeling at 10 o'clock at night because he didn't even have his after nines. So And that's why he let his brother drive. So he was halfway thinking, because he knew he didn't have his after nines. So he's going to let his brother drive since it was 10 o'clock. But they go to this place four-wheeling. His brother gets the truck stuck. And lo and behold, here comes the police. And my son was begging this cop, please just take me to jail. Don't call my dad. Don't call my dad. Just take me to jail. Arrest me. I don't care. And the police officer's like, no, I think I'll let your dad come and handle it. So it was the same situation. So, I mean, I was really glad that it was a police officer like that. Now, today, they would have just hauled his butt off to jail and then called us. But, yeah, my son was sweating bullets until his dad got there. And, yeah, he never did that. So, I
love those natural consequences.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember I was more scared of my parents than anything and not because I had bad parents. My parents were great. But if I did wrong, I had to face the consequences. And they weren't good. But, anymore, I think maybe partially that's why cops are the way they are now is because parents don't parent like they used to.
Yep. I hear you.
Sadly. But, wow, I cannot believe an hour has gone by already.
Yeah.
Wow.
Talk.
All right. Yeah, I know. That's why I love this. I get to talking with whoever's on and the time just like flies by. So what else do you want us to know about this upcoming album? What are we looking for? What can we expect to see?
The next record's called Prince of Poverty. It'll be out before the end of the year. My website is www.kmwkb.com. My name is spelled with a K, not a C, so it's Kristian Montgomery and the Winterkill Band. You can find us on Facebook. We're starting to get some recognition, and we're almost up to 800 fans on Facebook, and we're doing pretty good on the Instagram, and we're starting to get a lot of press. People are very interested in our style of country music. We're different. I have nothing against the current style of country music that's really popular right now. It seems like Kenny Chesney's becoming the new what's his Margaritaville guy. I can't even remember his name now.
Luke Bryan.
Not Luke Bryan. No. Who sang "Wasted Away Again"?
Jimmy Buffett.
Jimmy Buffett. Seems like the no shoes army is becoming the next Jimmy Buffett type of thing. And I'm hoping my blue collar message kind of gets across to people. Country music has always been the music of the working man. It's always been it hasn't, right now I see country music sometimes more as like propaganda. It used to be about questioning authority. It used to be about individuality and not conforming into these giant groups of beach blanket beer drinkers. So I'm nothing against that. We need to relax. We need Jimmy Buffett's. We need Kenny Chesney's to help us take the edge off. But we also need those songs that motivate us to ask for a little bit more an hour, to ask for better working conditions, and ask for more respect for our labor too. So
absolutely. And that's, one thing for sure about your music and what I love, your songs are, and that's why I love country music so much. The majority of country music is storytelling, telling a story from something that you or someone has experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling something real and relatable. And that's what I love about your music, because it's definitely that. Every song that I listened to from you sounded like, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but sounded like something that you experienced.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not one to, to write just to write. If it didn't happen, I've that's how songwriting happens with me. It's either a phrase or a feeling that of something that was going on or happening, or a way to describe something that happened to me, and then I just kind of put the music and the words around it. Life is pretty inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was something I definitely wanted to ask you, is like where your inspirations come from for your writing. I mean, obviously it's all like real life stuff, but do you wake up in the middle of the night sometime and something is just like popped in your head and you have to jot it down?
Yeah, that happened. My wife will tell you that happens a lot. She'll give me that look and go, I should go read my book. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to, as soon as she sees me pull out the guitar, she's like, you going to be a while? I'm like, I might. And, and then I'll throw something up on YouTube and she'll be like, hey, I was listening to that on the way to work. That's pretty wild that you just came up with that. And I'm like, yeah, well, this or this happened.
Now, when you start writing, or you have to see it through till it's done, or?
Yeah. And it's weird. It happens really quick. And I have to get it on tape, or throw it up on YouTube real quick in order to remember it. 'Cause I forget them as fast as I write them sometimes. I mean,
oh wow.
I mean, I've been, I got out of jail. It was a year, August 12th. And in a matter of 1 year, I've got 26 songs almost finished in the studio. I mean, I did the 16 on the Great Church, this 10. And then I've probably got another 24 of them up on YouTube that, we're going to work on. And my producer is pretty psyched, because he's always got work. We've been courting a couple of record labels, and I think they like the idea of that I can kind of churn out material this fast. So
yeah. So you just, as soon as it comes in your mind, you're writing down the lyrics, doing the music, and then you just put a raw video up.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to have to, I didn't check out your YouTube. I'm going to have to check that out then.
Yeah. Like the other night, my wife and I were sitting on the couch, and I looked at her, and, she said she had to dye her roots, and
she's going to kill you for saying that on here.
I know. But it was, I wrote this song called "We Made This House Our Home." It's on my YouTube channel, and a lot of my friends have called me and said, man, that's absolutely a beautiful song. And, the lyrics to it came so quickly as I was, talking to my wife. The first verse is it's uncomfortable to think about. Yesterday your hair was brown, but now it's white as snow. The second verse is she jokes about fooling around. She wouldn't chance it anyhow, but what a way to go. The whole song was just about growing old together. And, my wife and I we have this thing, we look at each other and we just say forever, we know that this was meant.
I love that.
So it's no matter what, forever. We're gonna just keep plugging away and try to have the best life we possibly can.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I love that. All right, well, I am gonna have to go to your YouTube then and check that out, and all your other stuff that you've got thrown up there, now that I know how you do things. And that's quite impressive. That is a cool way to do it. Yeah. So, and I'm anxiously awaiting the release of this next album. That's going to be fun. So, what do you want to take us out with?
Well, I'll leave you with this song. It's called "That Bird Won't Fly," and I wrote this. This is about my wife. It was my love song to my wife. It was, she just had so many reasons. I mean, me going to jail and all the baggage that comes with having a divorce and kids, and she had every reason to fly, but she didn't. So I wrote "That Bird Won't Fly."
Awesome.
It goes like this. There's a love, she'll be in it, right or wrong. She's got me singing this song. Baby, you should take a minute before you decide if she's staying the night. 'Cause that bird won't fly. That bird won't fly. Yeah, that bird won't fly. That bird won't fly. If you make rules, she's gonna break them. You can't decide who she's got on mind. Baby, you take a minute, 'cause she's dropping hints of who she wants to live. Is that bird fly? That bird won't fly. Yeah, that bird won't fly. That bird won't fly. Something about the way she moves when you walk in the room. Something about the way she turns your head. Sometimes I think it's make-believe, the way she brings me to my knees with black magic that I have never felt. There's a place that I go and I fall into dreams, where it's still you and me and the memories of the times that passed. They seem to last, so perfect and broken, it's no way to say. I just keep on praying, there's gotta be a reason why that bird won't fly. That bird won't fly. Yeah, that bird won't fly. That bird won't fly. Something about the way she moves the moment you walk in the room. Something about the way she turns your head.
I love that.
Thanks.
Now that one I did listen to earlier. Yep. So I heard that one on Spotify. But I like just the acoustic version of it.
Thanks.
So I'm probably gonna love what you have on YouTube then, if it's just
just me and a guitar.
Yeah. I love a good concert. Don't get me wrong. So I love the full band. But sometimes it's just really nice just to hear the stripped down just you and the guitar version.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that a lot. I do a lot of acoustic shows right now, so it's just me and a guitar for the time being.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that right now. It's all over the place. So I'm really hoping that it's going to stick a little bit. Like even when everybody goes back out to play in shows and stuff, just like maybe one song in the whole set, just play us one of those good old stripped down versions, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's what I prefer. I like playing just me and a guitar. That's where I'm most comfortable. You know?
Yeah. You know, without all the smoke and the lights and all the effects and, you know, all the craziness that, you know, is in concerts nowadays. But yeah, I just like it stripped back down to its roots. I love that. Well, I have loved talking with you and learning more about you and your lovely wife who is back there somewhere. And I'm really super jealous that you're getting ready to eat spaghetti with deer meat in it.
Oh, yeah.
And I always say deer meat. I will probably never say venison. Unless I go to a restaurant or something, I'm just not politically correct about deer meat.
I hear you.
It is what it is.
I agree.
But I've enjoyed having you on so much. We'll have to do this again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like around maybe when your album drops. So we'll get to hear some of those. And so anybody that is watching, please go follow him on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff, Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen to music, and stream it, download it, because you don't want to miss it. So
we've got some limited edition sweatshirts and T-shirts and CDs and all that jazz too. So you can find that on my website.
Check out the merch for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. I love people's merch. I love it. I'm like a T-shirt. I don't know what you want to call it. I have tons. I love I love that. So I'll have to check all that out for sure. All right. Y'all heard it. Go check everything out on his website, Facebook, IG, all that good stuff. Y'all know all the socials and how it works. So go to it. And thank you very much for being on. And we'll do this again.
You're welcome. I appreciate it.
All right. Everybody have a good night. Until then, y'all stay safe. Bye.